Cool. This is one of my favorite things. And when I show this to accountants, their head just explodes in a good way. So talk about the impact of the drop. Okay. So sometimes accountants don't necessarily want to give up more inventory, right? But when they see the impact that increase in inventory might have, quite often they'll change their tune. So many distributors, we all know this, offer quantity discounts, right? Sometimes as much as 25% or more. Not at all unusual. Take a look at a real life example. So X Pinot Noir, $240 per case, right? $20 a bottle, right? You could either buy it by the case for $20 a bottle, or if you take 5 cases, you get it for $180, right? We all know $180 is $15 a bottle all of a sudden. So assuming that you sell 2 bottles per day, right? It's a sweet spot price point. So 2 bottles a day, you can certainly do that. You'll sell 5 cases a month. So here's 4 different approaches. Restaurant A buys 6 bottles, half a case, twice a week, right? They order 6 bottles on Monday and they order 6 bottles again on Friday. Their bottle cost is actually $21 because they're paying for that split case charge, right? That pesky split case charge. They're operating at a 30% cost of goods sold. So their list price is $70, right? So they're selling that bottle of wine for $70 and they're making $49 off of each bottle that they sell, right? Restaurant B is offering a case. Is buying a case once a week, right? One less phone call, one less email. That's good, right? Also, they get it for $1 less, right? They can offer that at 30% cost of goods for $66, right? So just by not paying that split case charge, all of a sudden, you're able to offer that for $4 less to your guest, right? That could be cool when they say, you know what? I don't do a $70 bottle of wine, but I would do 60s, and I can drink that. So that's great. Now, yes, your gross margin is a little bit lower. You're making a little bit less off each bottle, but you're still getting your cost of goods in line, and you're being able to offer it at a lesser price. Okay, Restaurant C. Let's take a look at Restaurant C. They buy 5 cases of this on the first day of every month. All right? They get it for $15 a bottle as a result. They're not paying $20 or $21 like everybody else. They're getting it for $15 because they're taking that $180 on 5, right? They're selling it for 30% cost of goods, right? And their list price is $50. They're smoking these other 2 restaurants as far as value. Now, granted, their gross margin is less because they're selling it for less, but they're still making their same cost of goods, okay? And they're putting those other 2 restaurants to shame. Or Restaurant D, which orders that 5 cases on the first of every month, they get it for $15 as well. They're reducing their cost of goods to 25%. They're selling it for $60, so they're still giving great value, and they're running at 25% cost of goods sold. Now, here's the coolest part of this, right? When you look at it, if you understand your burn rate, if you buy that 5 cases at the beginning of each month, what's the difference in inventory between these 4 restaurants?
At the end of the month, nothing.
Nothing, right? Because at the end of the month, you will have sold that down, right? So you can buy those 5 cases by understanding your burn rate. You're still at the exact same inventory as the other guy that's buying it 6 bottles at a time. Okay, now let's look at the other side of that coin, what we call the drip, right? Not the drop, but the drip, right? Every list wants to have those splurge-worthy wines, right? The why not, what the heck wines, right? They didn't walk in thinking that they were going to drink a $600 bottle of wine, but you offer blank and they cannot resist, right? So in order to have that on your list, Z Cabernet is at $240 a bottle. There's no case break on a $240 bottle of wine, right? So assuming a burn rate of 1 bottle per period, right? You sell about 1 bottle a month. You'll sell a case of 12 over the course of a year, right? So Restaurant A buys a case, right? They buy it once a year. Their bottle cost is $240. Their cost of goods is 30%. They sell it for $800 on the list. They make $560, right? Their annual gross margin is $6,700 off that 1 entry. Not bad. Their average inventory is $1,440, right? Or you could be Restaurant B that buys it 3 bottles at a time and says, you know what, we'll pay the split case charge on that. So their bottle cost is $241 instead of $240, right? So they sell it for $800. Their gross margin is $559 because they had to pay that split case charge, right? So at the end of the day, they're bringing $12 less to their gross margin. But check it out, their inventory is half as much. So they could offer 2 splurge-worthy wines instead of just 1, right? Or restaurant C, and here's a good way of looking at it. They carry that same 3 par, but instead of selling it for $800, they sell it for $689, right? So they only make $448 gross margin, right? About $100 less. But as a result, their burn rate, they sell more of it because all of a sudden now it's in a different price point, right? So their burn rate becomes 18, right? So their gross margin is $8,000, and their inventory is still just that 723 number. Which one of these restaurants do you want to be?
See.
C? Great. Great. Which one do you absolutely not want to be? A.
Which
right?
one do you want to be a diner at?
Yeah, which one will you go? Which
Yeah.
one will you go
So-
to? C.
When your diners want to be at your restaurant, you're selling to them. That's the good match. Yeah. You don't
Cool.
want to be a diner at restaurant A.
So this is a great example. Restaurant A is a great example of when your inventory is not necessarily working for you, right? You're a slave to your inventory rather than it working for you. If you buy that 12 bottles just so you can make 1 phone call a year instead of calling once every quarter, then all of a sudden your inventory is much higher and your list is going to be less interesting as a result.